Thank you very much. We continue with Croatia, and afterwards we will have time for question and answers.
My name is Lidija Nikocevik, and together with Nikocevik, I have been working on this project for 4 years. I will start with some general information about Istria, about leaving Istria after the Second World War. So around, or even more than 200,000 Istrians left Istria after the Second World War, mostly Italian Istrians, but also some Croatians and Slovenian Istrians who could not or didn't want to accept the new political and ideological reality that changed completely at that time. So Eastern Italians were often looked down upon because the new authorities saw them as the remnants of the previous fascist rule, and they were often mistreated or the objects of some sorts of revenge. Although it was not a typical forced migration in that literal sense, the feeling that they became foreigners in their own country, then intimidation, fear, political persecutions, the humiliation resulted in the fact that a large number of Eastern Italians opted for Italian citizenship, which meant that they were supposed to leave Istria within a year. All that resulted with empty cities, and those cities and villages were left by people who were actually supposed to be basis, to be foundation for the post-war development of that area. So you can see they actually were taking everything they could from their houses. They sometimes knocked out the door frames and window frames, hoping that they would build another home in their so-called motherland, Italy, but that was not so. What happened in Istria is the fact that we still nowadays have abandoned towns. So-called magical, enchanted Istria is cited as a tourist attraction fact, but in reality it's about desolate places where life in many cases has never fully returned. Some other further consequences of that phenomenon are separated families, not only in the physical sense, because we have to bear in mind that some people remained, not all Eastern Italians left, some remained, a small percentage, but still some remained, and those were of another opinion, of another attitude towards leaving Istria or not. So many families were split, were divided in that ideological way as well. Then another consequence is a very difficult life of immigrants for years after leaving Istria in refugee camps. They were staying in those camps for years, fighting to find new jobs, but that was a problem in Italy that was lacking new job opportunities after the World War II, and they were disregarded by Italians themselves because Italians sometimes were thinking, who are these guys who are coming from Istria? Are these some old fascists or what? Because Italy changed idea completely after the Second World War. So Istrian immigrants were not welcomed at all. Then generally difficulties in overcoming the new life circumstances of the first generation was followed by discomfort and identity problems of the second generation. Then another consequence was a complicated, sometimes conflicting relationship with that small percentage of Istrian Italians who remained in Istria. And then we have also the phenomenon of fragmented, impoverished, and desolate quality of life of those Istrian Italians who remained in Istria. And then, as already previously mentioned, the political use related to exiled Istrian Italians. All testimonies that we were able to put together were shown in our local exhibition. And so the fates of both those who immigrated and those Istrian Italians who remained in Istria were combined in an exhibition as one of the outcomes of this project. And the exhibition was obviously based on testimonies of both of the first and second and sometimes third generation of Istrian Italians whose lives have been defined by this involuntary immigration. The introduction to the exhibition was written by a historian who is working at the Center for Historical Research in Norway, and that center is related to this national group in Istria. So this exhibition that, as I said, put together testimonies of both those who left and those who stayed was well visited, and we were especially proud of our informants who in this picture you can see one informant standing next to her shape and to her testimonies and photos that she shared with us. And in that way, the whole exhibition got a special new quality, but an additional quality to the museum profession and to the role of the museum nowadays is also accentuated, and a regional museum such as ours was acting as a place of presenting silenced voices, place of dialogue and presentation of different aspects of related theme. Thank you very much.